council meeting. 7 p.m. Roll call.
Cheek,
Present.
Colin,
Present.
Dockery,
Present.
Peters,
Present.
Blackwell.
He called, we cannot be here this evening. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job.
Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Peter, second by Cheek to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. 5B, bills payable. Does anybody have any questions on the bills payable this evening?
For public comment. Anybody?
Yeah. Does anybody in the public have anything to talk about not on the agenda this evening?
Yeah,
State your name, please.
John Ryan.
Okay.
Last city council meeting, the library came in and talked to you guys, and I was rather upset that there's movement, I don't know movement's the right word, but there was thoughts that we're going to not renew the lease and tell them to go away. And that made me really mad that we're just gonna throw away that resource to the city. And I would rather we didn't do that. I was around when we voted down the city hall. And I don't know what background, I don't know what's in the background or nothing, but it's like, when I read the North Scott Press, I was fighting mad. And I just want to come in here and say that, it's like, I remember when the library was a little hole in the wall. I remember using the computer in the post office annex. We don't want to return a library. Something like that.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, state your name.
Ron Yossi. I was not at the meeting. I watched it on video and was as concerned as you were. But I also looked back at the last council meeting minutes in the last year, and I could find nothing regarding discussion about police station in the library. I checked with a couple of council members. They too could not remember that. So if the council is going to consider a new city hall and or police station, which I don't have any problem with at all, I really think they need to give some thought to looking at needs and wants. I ran a business for the most of my life, so I understand needs and wants in any activity, especially in a business. And like it or not, you guys are running a business here. So needs and wants, I think, should be at the foremost part of it, but I also would suggest that you consider having an open house here at City Hall and the police station. The chief can do a personalized tour of the jail, showing what shortcomings there are there, educate the public. Our administrator can do the same in the city hall part to show the community the true needs. But before moving any further beyond that, I think the council should seriously consider having a citizens advisory committee with one of the council members as a liaison, and let that committee look at all the aspects of what this new building might be, what it might need, where it could be located. And it may take a year or two process, I don't know. But I'm sure there's a lot of interested citizens in the community that would like to sit on that committee once they were educated on what the needs really were, and maybe go beyond that. But I think that would be a good direction to consider looking at prior to just picking the library out. Excuse me. In the last 2 and 4 weeks, I've had surgery on my eyes, getting rid of cataracts. So I'm learning how to see differently than I ever have before. So excuse the glasses on. Going to another subject, my wife and I have been residents of North Scott community for over 40 years. Residents of Eldridge for a little almost 4 years. We raised 3 kids all through North Scott schools. All but 2 of our grandkids are going to or have graduated from North Scott schools. And we as a family take a lot of pride in Eldridge, in the North Scott area. It's a great community. However, like many of you, we have a lot of strong ties, and more than we have been in a long time, we're very excited. We have a new city administrator, we have a new city clerk, both of which have experience. Eldridge needs that hope moving forward. So as a family, as a community member, we're excited about that. A couple of years ago, we went through a lot of ugliness regarding a city administrator and a city clerk. Eldridge community took a beating. They really did. And a lot of citizens, including myself, residents, found ourselves having to defend what's going on in Eldridge, and that's pretty hard to do under those circumstances. So it was pretty tough at that point in time. I thought we were kind of back on track, and we have a lot of hope, and we have a lot of excitement for the future, something that we can all be proud again. However, unfortunately, last month's meeting brought some more ugliness to the table. And we had a council member that had some very inappropriate behavior. And before I go any further, Bruce Cheek and I have been friends for 58 plus years. We've been in committees together. Bruce and I go back a long way. But Bruce's behavior at last month's meeting was very embarrassing for me.
I'm gonna,
And he betrayed
I don't think it's
even
the point
his own being.
anybody.
Please don't call anybody out for that. Bruce had a statement he was talking about
Yes,
stating, because I don't believe he actually said that he wanted to kick the library out of the city of Eldridge.
At the meeting, no, but based upon further publications, that's what the point of it seemed to be. If I may finish, I will do so quickly. His behavior towards Crystal Colbert Schaefer was nothing short of disrespectful and ill-conceived based upon, I think, false pretenses and a personal agenda, which leads to what we just talked about here. He literally came out of left field with some of his comments and brought shame to this body, to our community. And I think he owes Colbert Schaefer a public apology. Now, I know in the state legislature, they have a means of censoring or removing members. I don't know what municipalities have, but I would seriously consider that this council reprimand Mr. Cheek for that behavior, censor him or whatever, because this type of behavior cannot tarnish the reputation of this council in the future, and it should not be tolerated. The citizens of Eldridge are watching.
may I?
Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
Okay. There was an article in the Scott Press heading "Cheek Takes Aim at Scott County Library." I would like to address that. I am not taking aim at the library. I am not, and I need everyone to hear me on this, trying to close the library. As a council member, we have been looking at finding a replacement for the city of Eldridge and the police department for years. It is my obligation as a councilman to always do what is in the best interest of the citizens of Eldridge. And part of that is to explore every avenue at our disposal and make the best and most efficient decisions to do that. The library is one of the options we have explored. That doesn't mean we will close it. It means we can move it to a different location or even build a new building for them. There are several options, and we are trying to review them all. I am always open for suggestions, but again, I want to clarify, I never once said I wanted to close the library. And if you go back and look at the video, you'll see me say that I may vote against it. That means I may vote for it too. There's tons of options that we have here that we're looking at. And this has been going on for years, not just this year. It's been going on for years. The police department's been promised a building for the last 10 years. It's not secure. City Hall is not secure. I'm looking out for the employees. And never did I ever say that I would close the library. I have different, I've been thinking of different options. I think myself and Mayor King have thought of a whole bunch of different ways of doing it. And one is even, maybe even add on to the library. That was my first suggestion, is add on. And when it got done, and we moved into, the library moved into that, and then the police department would take that building and remodel it, and for City Hall and the police department. Never once did I say that I wanted to close.
All I can remember is, you said, and I'd have to look at the video again, apologies, I don't have it all up here. When it came up for a vote, you would say no. You're only one vote in the council. And again, if I'm remembering wrong, I apologize, but that's the way I remember it. And
The way I said it was, I may vote.
I don't remember that word, sir.
It was in there. I went back and looked 3 or 4 times.
Mr. Peters?
Well, I was on vacation in Texas at the last meeting, but I've had a number of citizens approach me and read the articles and everything, and my stand, my take on it for clarification is that a citizen has a right to express their opinion. Obviously, I questioned, Bruce, whether that was the time and place to do that. I think talking to Crystal, or Owen would have been better. And I don't think you should take one person's view, even though it was presented in council, as a policy or agenda or a direction that the city and the rest of the council is going. And yes, this is a back of the roster concern over many, many years. It always comes up, and every kind of fiscal year we look, just toss around a few ideas. But I just want to assure everybody there is no big rush. There is no ongoing conversation that has been taking place about it. It's just something that's always there. And it just comes up, like I said, when at fiscal times, because when the county rents it, we don't get a tax income, and we rent it very cheap. And, you know, it always comes up, well, get a private something in there, we'd get tax revenue off it, or we could move in there. But and we looked in for the remodeling over here, and that wasn't feasible. And we've never even come close to that. And I just don't know if we'd ever come to do that. And I would think that the engineers would come back and say, yeah, not really doable. We talked about the fitness center for the police department location and what it takes to remodel it. Now, that was not a good thing. And my position, I think majority of the council over all the years, is that when we do something, we want to do it right. On the city hall in this, we've upkept it. Yeah, it's nice, it's clean, it's sanitary, but it's too small. We got all our department heads scattered around. They're not in one building, so things need to be done there. And that's always in the back there. But there is no pertinent discussion about doing anything with the library. I think the lease comes up in 2025, and that's always there. There's a little talk, but I'm not in favor of it. You go way back with the library, back in my Boy Scout days, when the library was in form of hardware across the store, our scouts, wasn't Boy Scout. We did the book trolley thing. We take a section of books off the shelf, march them over, they throw us, we're on that shelf to put it. And then, you know, I thought I'd gone to heaven. We had the new library. And now with the one we have here, And, you know, if you look at the facts and figures Crystal put out, I think it was, if citizens had to buy the books that they checked out, it'd be like $1.5 million they'd have to spend to buy that amount of books. And for years, when I have out-of-town friends, relatives, college friends, casual people, I talk about Eldridge, I always pointed out the great schools and the great library we have. You know, for a community our size, it's just outstanding. And now lately, I've thrown in the why. It's, hey, we're a great place. We got great schools. Just look at them. We got a great library. Just look at them. It's a great location for county library. They talked about now we could move to Declare, move to Walcott, whatever, and they're not going to go across county. It makes sense to be here. You know, if you look into what it would cost the city to build or take over and maintain, start a library, even probably half that quality, it would cost a phenomenal amount of money. So I think what we do and help out the county to have it located here, I don't know how you can do much better than that. Look at any place in the state of Iowa or Illinois, a community our size that has a library like that. And the services, the computer stuff, the programs, they have kids, you know, we vote there, there's meeting rooms, the things. I've done a number of presentations to groups up there over the years. I've displayed things in their thing. It's the only art showcase really we have in the whole area. You know, we don't have an art gallery or anything. So if somebody wants to see art and community art, that's the only place they'll need to go. So I don't want to construe, like I say, everybody has a right to their opinion, but I don't want to construe as that reflects on the direction Eldridge is going or myself, I think some of the other council members. So we'll put you at ease a little bit that.
Again, I was very mad, and I also think if citizens don't come in and get in front of it, we don't want, if you don't put something up for a vote, that the whole city can vote on it, we don't get in front of whatever direction you guys are going, you don't know if the citizens don't like it. So we gotta come in here and make our voice go, and that's why I came in here today.
Well, to give you some relief, we don't have liquid cash to build a library or a city hall right now. And we haven't had any discussions as a group on that. At some point in time, similar to the Y, it would have to go to the vote of the people. We did put a bid on the old bank building. Where we did that, we had engineers come in and see what it was gonna take to retrofit it. And the value got so high and they took another bid. That's why we didn't end up that building. There is some misconceptions in the community that we should have bought that. We tried to buy that. But for the value of it, we just didn't see the reward.
Like, I only read the North Scott Press. I don't, up until this week or last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, I've never read the minutes in the agendas. Because you guys do a fairly good job and I don't have to worry about it. So, when you're saying there, it's like, okay, that's cool. I'm glad we had a bid on it. You need to get that out there too, so more people know that.
And now all of our meetings are videotaped, so you can watch today's meeting tomorrow if it's working. I know it's not up on the TV right now.
It's working.
Okay.
And then you guys have it first.
I want you to know that when I first talked about this, I went to Bill Tubbs and talked to him about it. Because he has some money invested in it. And he basically told me that it was a bad thing to do if I wanted to run again. And he has the impression that I want to close the library. I told him, him and his wife both, that I did not want to close the library. So where it's coming from, well, evidently it's coming from the North Scott Press.
And again, I don't remember the video. I just watched the video, and that is until I watched it again, that is the impression I have of you, sir.
Well, what she said to me was, she said, so you want to have it for the police department? And I said, no, I want it for the city hall and the police department. And then she asked me about voting, and I told her that at this point, I wasn't sure. I may vote no. I may vote no. That means I may vote yes too. There's a lot more to this than most people know, I understand.
Yes, I 100% yes, that's.
Do you know how much we pay the library to be here?
Your Honor, we need to.
This is not, no, okay. Just to wrap up,
Nobody wants you to know that.
that'll all be out there at the proper time. I just want to thank you guys for coming in. The more people we get in here at meetings, the better it is. I want you guys to know, from me personally, I'm here for you. I'm working for you, not for me, not for an agenda. So feel free to contact me anytime or come up here anytime and express your views. And, you know, we try to keep a pulse on things, but when we see somebody concerned enough to come up face to face and bring something up, I mean, that's registers at another level. So don't apologize for coming up and taking their time, because we are all here for you. I just want you to know that. The other thing that just wrap up is my philosophy, and I think backed up by others. We don't like to put a lot of money. This facility was supposed to be defunct 1985, and we've made improvements over the years. And what we've done is, you know, got it up to 10 years behind always. And with other buildings, I don't want to take a building that's currently in place, spend tons of money remodeling and get it up to where, you know, it should have been a long time ago. I want a facility, all of our facilities, when we build them, we want a 35 to 50 year, you know, workable time span out of it. Obviously, you got upkeep and other things like that, but if we can't design something, anticipate the needs, you know, size, and have an extra room on it that may, you know, seem extra for the first 10 years, the next 40 years, you know, it's needed. We try to look at things and plan that way. And, you know, that's one thing when you look at an existing structure, you know, it costs a lot of money, even if the structure's there, to bring it up, you know, not only to where it would replace the city hall as it is, but to project, like I said, down the line and make it viable for a number of years, and, you know, so the taxpayers get their best value for the dollar. And then we're not coming every 5 years with big bills to remodel, renovate, redo this, redo that, just to keep it up. We like to bite the bullet a little bit, but over that 35, 50 year time period, save a lot of money and inconvenience in the process. So thank you.
Brian, you have anything to say? Okay, sounds good. Does anybody else have anything to say? Okay, moving on, 5A, approving the council minutes from the June 19th and the city council special meeting on June 26th, 2023.
Unless anybody has additions or corrections, I make a motion for approval.
Second. Motion by Peter, second by Collins, to approve the city council meetings from June 19th and the special council meeting from June 26th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays. 5B, bills payable. Does anybody have any questions on the bills, Stephen?
Mine were answered prior.
We're also answered, sir.
Mr. Chief?
I have none.
I, with what's presented and my review, what's there, so
Okay.
as far as I know, it's good.
Mine were answered as well today, so I'll take a motion to approve the bills payable.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Collins, second by bills payable. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. 5C, approval of a liquor license for a business name of Double Barrel Drinkery LLC. Joe, is everything look good there?
Yeah, there was more issue. Keep going.
So what is Double Barrel?
Let's go.
We're happy to list 350. That's going in there.
Oh,
Yeah, and this is part of their process of getting a liquor license prior to opening up, so it's work through the state.
so if I would have a granddaughter someday, I'd take her gas license next door and go have a beer.
Right.
Long time down the line, but
Do I hear a motion to approve the liquor license for Double Barrel Drinkery LLC?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that, sir.
Motion by Chief, second by Collins to approve the liquor license for Double Barrel Drinker LLC. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay, the ayes have it. 5B, consideration to approve a 5-day liquor license for Cabos for the Eldridge Summerfest and Music in the Park, effective July 8th through July 12th. Joe, does everything look okay on that too?
Yeah, everything will be come.
Do you have any questions on that? Do I hear a motion to approve the liquor license for Cabos for the Summerfest and Music in the Park?
So, second.
Motion by Dockery, second by Peters to approve the 5-day liquor license for Cabos for Eldridge Summerfest and Music in the Park from July 8th through July 12th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. 6A. There was some discussion at the beginning of the meeting there, so to understand, you guys would like to table this for more discussion.
Yes, I still have concerns. We talked about limiting what could go in there, because now it's pretty wide open. Obviously, we don't restrict development or inhibit the owners from sales, but I don't think it's a pressing issue right now with, anybody that's actively looking at it. And I just want to make some safeguards there that we don't get things in here that are not good for the community. That still leaves a ton of options open for other businesses and things that same kind of businesses we have now.
And adding on to that, I'd like to table this until after the P and Z meeting where they discuss this issue. So it sounds like it's gonna be August 3rd, so we could have it the following meeting back on our agenda, depends on what they come up with. And they may say it's fine. But it'd give them an opportunity, because if we pass the third and final reading tonight, no matter if we change the ordinance in the future, this property would be under the current ordinances as of this date.
So your motion to table this till after their August 8th meeting,
August 3rd.
August 3rd.
So
Motion by Dockery, second by Peters to table the third and final reading of ordinance 2023-13. Roll call.
Collins,
Aye.
Dockery,
Aye.
Peters,
I,
Cheek.
Aye.
6B, consideration and second reading of ordinance 2023-14. The city code amending the definition of sign. Jeff, I'll call on you. Has anybody called in regards to that?
No, we've received no comments, Mayor.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Jeff on that? Do I hear a motion to approve the second reading ordinance 2023-14, amending the definition of sign in the city code?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Collins, second by Dockery.
Was that the second?
Or third.
Roll call.
Dockery,
Aye.
Peters,
I,
Cheek,
Aye.
Collins.
Aye.
Jeff, I'll call on you again here. Can you explain what ordinance 23-15 regarding the city code on sidewalk?
Sure. So based on the discussion at the last council meeting, it seemed that the councilmen were in favor of possibly allowing no sidewalks in industrial areas where there are currently no sidewalks. So the ordinance has been changed. If you take a look at my memo, I think that explains it best, and it's more easily understandable than the ordinance format. So we're adding public and municipal districts into the wording of the ordinance because public and municipal districts were not addressed by the ordinance prior to this. And then we're just adding a sentence at the end stating that in existing industrial parks and industrial districts where no sidewalks currently exist, the developer may submit a sidewalk assessment waiver to the city council for consideration. All new industrial park developments will require sidewalks as set forth in this ordinance. So we're saying that if they're in an industrial park with no sidewalks, they can submit a sidewalk waiver, assessment waiver. Basically all other districts, residential and commercial and new industrial have to follow the sidewalk ordinance as written. Is what this says.
Any questions for Jeff?
Well, I talked to Jeff earlier, if they do submit a sidewalk waiver assessment, it has to be recorded against the deed of the property in order for it to be binding. Just notarized. In the lawsuit, it needs to be recorded against the deed in case they sell the property in the future and everything else, so. But that's something that Jeff can handle.
And, you know, and that's,
Would that be a waiver by a year or just a
yeah,
waiver until something comes up? And if the things around to get to the point where we think a sidewalk connecting, going through the waiver property is necessary, at that point, you can nullify the waiver.
yeah, and at that point, the city can put in the sidewalk, assess the property owner, or we can ask this property owner to put in the sidewalk.
Now, is that, would we have to do that at the fiscal year? Can that be done anytime, any month or whatever?
Anytime the city determines their sidewalks, you know,
As
property.
long as we have the safe words, I'm comfortable.
But the other thing we should note is that's when the property is developed. If you have a vacant piece of ground out there, you don't have to have a sidewalk on it until it's developed.
Correct.
You ran into that at Grand Haven a little bit.
So did we want to add to the ordinance about recorded in the deed then? Or are we gonna
I can,
approve it tonight and then we'll just approve the next one?
at the next reading, I'll just add a sentence saying any approved sidewalk assessment waivers are required to be recorded with the Scott County Recorder.
Yes.
Thank you, Jeff.
First reading of ordinance 2023-50. An ordinance amending Title D, Chapter 1, Section 19.12 sidewalks of the Eldridge City Code by updating the ordinance to include public and municipal districts and address existing industrial parks, repealing all ordinances and resolutions in conflict with this ordinance and providing for an effective date. Section 1, Title D, Chapter 1, Section 19.12 sidewalks is amended by removing the following language. Sidewalks are required on both sides of all streets in industrial subdivisions. Sidewalks are required in any commercial or industrial subdivision where pedestrian traffic is not otherwise served. When any subdivision or adjacent to an existing street and contain lots with multiple street frontages, the council may require the developer to grade for and/or install sidewalk on the adjacent street concurrently with the construction of the other required subdivision improvements, or at such time as the council may determine appropriate. Section 2, Title D, Chapter 1, Section 19.12 sidewalks amended by adding the following language. Sidewalks are required on both sides of all streets in all residential subdivisions. Sidewalks are required in any public or municipal or commercial industrial subdivision where pedestrian traffic is not otherwise served. When any subdivision is adjacent to an existing street and may contain lots with multiple street frontages, the council may require the developer to grade for and install sidewalk on the adjacent street concurrently with the construction of other required subdivision improvements, or at such other time as the council may determine appropriate. In existing industrial parks and industrial districts where there are no sidewalks currently exist, the developer may submit a sidewalk assessment waiver to the city council for their consideration. All new industrial park developments will require sidewalks as set forth by this ordinance. Section 3, repealer. All ordinances, resolutions, and parts of ordinance and a resolution in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, the effective date. This ordinance shall take effect upon the passage and publication provided by law. Pass and approve on whatever day that would be.
7th day of August, 2023.
questions?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-15 first reading as presented. In reading under section 1 sidewalks, you said the commercial twice and left out residential,
On the first sentence.
Oh, sorry, I thought I said residential.
but that's coming out of it, so. So I'll make a motion for this first reading of this ordinance as presented.
Second.
Motion by Dockery, second by Peters, roll call.
Peters.
Aye.
Cheek.
I,
Collins.
Aye.
Dockery.
Aye.
6D, consideration resolution 2023-19, approving final plot for Grunwald's second edition. Jeff, has there been any questions?
No, and this is a reapproval. There was a miscommunication with the engineer on the project and it didn't get filed within the 4-month timeline. So you've seen this before. It just needs to be reapproved so it can get recorded.
I'll make a motion to, well, you gotta read it first, so.
Resolution 23-19, a resolution approving the final plot for Grunwald Grove second edition. Whereas the final plot for Grunwald Grove second edition has been submitted by Grunwald Land Development LC, owner and developer of the property, and whereas the final plot has been found to be substantial and all accord with the plotting requirements of the city of Eldridge and has been approved by the Eldridge Planning and Zoning Commission on December 1st, 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the city council of the city of Eldridge hereby approves the final plat for Grunwald second edition, passed and approved this 3rd day of July, 2023.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2023-19 as read.
Second.
Motion by Dockery, second by Peters. Roll call.
Cheek.
I,
Collins.
Aye.
Dockery.
Aye.
Peters.
Aye.
Dale. Get that certified.
I hear that loud and clear.
6C, consideration approval of hiring a police officer to fill a current vacancy. Joe, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, with John Barron's leaving the police department, it takes us down to 10 where we have a vacancy open right now. So I'm asking council's permission to go ahead and hire somebody to replace him. Our testing is towards the end of the month and then everything else after that. So we're hoping sometime first part of August that we'll have a list put together and a good candidate that we could actually replace him.
Make a motion to approve that hiring of the police officer.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion by Cheek, second by Peters to approve hiring of another police officer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay, the ayes have it.
Comments?
Yes,
Just a comment, and this isn't at the police department or any department, but it's been a long time since we've done a time study on our staffing. It's probably something we should look at some point in the future to see if we're adequately staffed, understaffed, or overstaffed for the future. But this I support, we're filling the vacancy.
thanks, Brian. 6F, consideration approving a $3,000 sign-on bonus for certified officers as a permanent hiring incentive for the police department. Joe, I'll call on you again.
I know we just had this discussion and you've had some meetings lately, few council meetings back, reference the $3,000 sign-on bonus. I'd like to see if we can just keep the $3,000 sign-on bonus on a permanent basis until if we decide that we're gonna get rid of it, or if it ever comes time that we might ask to raise it. But this would just make it far easier, so when we're going to start hiring and stuff, we can advertise more so that we have the $3,000 sign-on bonus to really try to attract more officers that are certified to come work for our city. Then it just makes it where we don't have to continue this, because you never know with law enforcement that sometimes you have a lot of turnover and sometimes you can go several years without any turnover, but right now, I mean, just if it continues to come back and ask for this, I'd just like to see if we can just keep it on the books for a while.
Yes, Mr.
As I recall in your past presentations, you, I thought covered very well the costs and savings of sending somebody to the academy and, the much shorter time span to actually getting an officer on the field and in service without the ride allowance and everything. So I don't have a problem with making that permanent. It's, like I said, who knows when it may come up, and if it does, I think it's a time and a cost saving that's well worth it.
I agree. Yeah, right.
I guess I'm a little different. I think that should go along with hiring an officer. He's gotta come in to ask anyway, so why not? What's the big deal asking for the bonus? I mean, right now, presented here is 3,000. I think Scott County's advertising right now, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Is that fair?
I have no idea what Scott County is doing. I think our $3,000 sign-on bonus is a pretty solid bonus. 1,500 at the start on your first check, 1,500 on your last check after your first year. I just, I know I have to come in and ask to replace an officer. But and I just. Are you here? That way it's something that we can permanently also have on our page that we do have a bonus and so.
It's already on your page, your advertisement, you're advertising it now. Authority to do that.
Yeah, and that was because they put it on there, so.
Mr. Collins.
I know we had an issue before too, where, the last time we hired that it had expired and we didn't know that it had expired. So I think we all agree that the 3,000 is minimal. And that way, then we don't have to worry about if it was advertised ahead of time or if there's an expiration date that we're gonna miss and have to go back and resolve it. So I just think this is gonna make it cleaner.
It just makes sense. It makes it a lot easier and quicker because he doesn't have to come to a meeting that might be 2 weeks out or a week out before he could even advertise. So the savings is much better than the $3,000 that's on the books that he could use if we get somebody that's certified. So I'm all for it. I think the safety committee was even for it. So
They were.
I'm for it.
Right.
I'm not against it. I'm against it being permanent because I believe county right now is adding for 5,000 sign-on bonus. If I made the motion, I would approve up to 5,000 on this one. You know, and take them case by case, because what if we get where the entities we're competing with have it, don't have it? I think we have to be competitive in the marketplace for our employees, but it's not a guarantee.
I'll address that. The last few command meetings and trainings I've attended, one of the big things that they have brought up is having too high of a bonus set is actually backfiring against agencies. When you start giving too high of a bonus, officers come in, they get these bonuses, and then they turn around and leave, or they're also coming in and getting these bonus officers that are already on the department. It starts causing some jealousy that these guys are getting a higher amount. And yet, if the county was getting 5,000 or 6,000, I'm not sure what it is, but their pay structure is also higher than ours. So I mean, that's a whole different ballgame if we wanted to be competitive, but this is a nice even number and it's not going to irritate or cause any conflict with any officers that have been here for a period of time. $3,000. Really just the even level area or just saying, hey, you come here, you get this little extra bonus. We're not going too high. We're still being competitive. Being the fourth largest agency and the third largest city in Scott County, we're very competitive. But I know agencies like Clinton does like a $10,000 sign-on bonus. It does not work very well for them. There's other agencies that even do up to $50,000-$70,000 bonuses, and they're finding that these do not work. The agencies that do a smaller sign-on bonus, and with us, with our pay range within the county compared to everybody else, the $3,000 sign-on bonus is really competitive, because I mean, we're not gonna match their payroll either. So it just puts us in a good spot with other certified officers.
Well, just add on to that, I think, with, what you've been doing and the support of the council and stuff, I think what the city and you offer to prospective officers, makes up a lot for a higher pay someplace else and stuff. I think it's, a great community, and for the most part, your officers always like working here and doing that stuff. And, if you're good with the three, I'm fine with the three.
I'm not gonna turn down saving money.
All right, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the permanent $3,000 sign-on bonus for certified officer.
Second.
Motion by Collins, second by Cheek. To approve the $3,000 sign-on bonus permanent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
For the record, show that Brian said nay.
For the record, I'm open to the $3,000. I just don't like it.
Right. 7A, consideration approving sidewalk waiver for Wapsie River Properties LLC. Jeff, I'll call on you for that.
Yes, Mayor. So we talked about sidewalks last time. We have an ordinance about sidewalks this time, so we knew that there was some interest in sidewalk waivers. This is the first one of those waivers, and this is on North 16th Avenue. It's a new mini storage facility. It is doing business as Elder Storage, so if you drive up that way, you'll see a sign that says Elder Storage hanging on the building. They blacktop, they put in a cement apron, they put in all their insulation around the foundation. They've done all the code requirements that we've asked them to do. They would like to not put in a sidewalk because no other businesses in the entire industrial park have a sidewalk. So there's a memo that is in your packet with a location map, and there's also a copy of their assessment waiver. It's based on a sample the city staff provided them that gives us the ability to have them put in a sidewalk if we ever deem it necessary.
And as I asked you earlier, and what Mr. Peters led to, that has no sunset on it, correct? At any point moving forward?
Correct.
As long as it's recorded against the deed.
So since that wording is not in the ordinance, I perhaps suggest that when the motion is made, someone makes it with that contingency.
Brian, would you like to do that?
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to the waiver being recorded at the courthouse, recorder's office, Scott County, Iowa.
Second that.
All those in favor, motion by Dockery, second by Collins to approve the sidewalk assessment waiver with the recording at Scott County Courthouse. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. 7B, Jeff, can I call on you again?
Yes, sir. This is the second sidewalk assessment waiver of the evening, and this is for Focus Storage. They're located on South 11th Avenue in the Blackhawk Trails Industrial Park. Also in an area in an industrial park with no sidewalks in the entire industrial park. They're asking for the same concession to be made for them.
The previous storage is new construction, and if I remember right, this is repurposing existing property, correct, Jeff?
It is, it's a redevelopment. This is in the old CRST trucking facility. So the building at the front, they're currently not defining the use for, probably, renting that out to some type of business. And then at the area moving south then would be outdoor storage and any storage buildings.
It's a terrible layout for the sidewalk to put in, but little building at one end, tons of parking in the middle, a little building at the other end, and a huge length of
A
sidewalk
huge with the sidewalk. yes.
for nobody to walk on.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with waiver at this point.
So to hear a motion to approve the waiver for them with the same thing they recorded at the Scott County Courthouse.
So
Second.
Motion by Peter, second by Dockery to approve the sidewalk waiver for Focus Storage with the recording of the waiver at the Scott County Courthouse. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay, the ayes have it and votes. Activity reports, Chief, I'll call on you.
First, I'd like to thank the council for approving, both hiring an officer and also, keeping the sign-on bonus on. Right now, not much to add on since we recently talked. I do want to say that Mr. Yossi must have been reading my mind today. I was approached by a couple of citizens at the gym today, that were asking about the building and stuff, and that we had a very good conversation. I actually, contacted, Officer Johns after I was on speaking with them, and we're gonna host at some point here in the near future, we'll host a coffee with a cop. And then we're gonna open the door for citizens to go ahead and come on over here, and I'd be more than happy to get department. That's one thing I do agree with you on that. Public's more than welcome to come see me, and if they want to see the police department, I'm more than happy to take them and give them a tour. So that is something that's already been kind of discussed today to go ahead and do. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add right now.
Everybody after 11 o'clock.
Okay. Just an update on fireworks. Yeah, last night, fireworks went pretty crazy. I believe we had 8 or so calls between 9 and 11 o'clock last night. Even during the rain, it was pretty crazy because two of the officers were pretty tied up. There was a short pursuit last night with a stolen vehicle. Tied up with the suspect that they caught and doing all that stuff and taking him down to jail. And it was kind of a good thing. I actually put on an extra officer last night, tonight, tomorrow night, just because of the fireworks and stuff. So we actually had some extra manpower, and he was running quite a bit last night, but no injuries or anything like that that's been reported to us, but they were chasing fireworks quite a bit last night.
Thanks, Chief. City Administrator.
I would like to just, say that we had, an incident with a water plant earlier this end of last week on Friday, with a chlorine leak, and all of our departments and staff came together really well. We had the police department, fire department, Brian Wessel and his staff, Tony Root, the clerk's office. We had Councilman Collins helping out with communications, and Jeff Martins, and I think the staff really came together and responded to that very well. They got communication out quickly. Residents knew what was going on and had a good idea of what the situation was. And then we followed up with getting that closed out within about an hour and a half. So I think everybody did a great job coming together and communicating there. Wilford construction updates. They had to reschedule the plan for the City Hall secure entrance. They do plan to start that work this Wednesday and hope to have it done by Friday. They're working with their crews, the drywall and construction crews that they're working with to get everybody scheduled, but they do plan to start Wednesday night after City Hall is closed, have it closed up by a Friday night. So if that changes, I will let you know. That's the plan going forward, and happy 4th of July to everybody. Enjoy your holiday. Okay.
And great job on your part too. He did a great job the other day too.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Second. Second. Motion by Dockery, second by Collins to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
adjourned at 7:55.
We did make it within an hour.